The year is 1972, a year in which the United States, like much of the world, was in a state of transition. It was a time of cultural shifts, political upheaval, and economic change. But amidst all this, something interesting was happening in the world of coins. The U.S. Mint was preparing to release the 1972 one-dime coin, which, while seemingly ordinary at first glance, would come to hold significant value and appeal for collectors. To understand the importance of this particular coin, let's first take a step back and look at the design of the dime itself. The 1972 one-dime coin continued the tradition set by previous dimes, carrying the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's image had been featured on the dime since 1946, just after his passing, as a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. However, what made the 1972 one-dime unique wasn't just the design. It was the era in which it was struck, the subtle production errors, and the condition in which it survived that would contribute to its eventual collector appeal. In terms of production, the 1972 dime was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, and there was also a special minting in San Francisco. Most of the 1972 dimes were created in large numbers, making them quite accessible in terms of circulation. But over time, certain aspects of this coin would come into focus, making it more desirable and rare in the eyes of numismatists. One of the things that collectors started to notice was the quality of the 1972 dime. Over the years, dimes have been heavily circulated, which means they usually show signs of wear. But there were a few 1972 dimes that were struck with such precision and quality that they stood apart from the rest. Coins that remained in near-perfect condition, without the typical wear and tear, became highly sought after. In the world of coin collecting, these coins are referred to as being in mint state, which is a designation for coins that are as close to their original minting quality as possible. But the real intrigue around the 1972 dime comes from the error coins, those that were minted with subtle mistakes. Minting errors are often what set coins apart, turning them from ordinary into valuable collectibles. One of the most well-known errors found in the 1972 dime series is the double die error. This error occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, causing the image to appear doubled or blurry. This mistake wasn't always easy to spot, but for the trained eye, it was a clear indication that the coin was no ordinary dime. As collectors began to identify these double die errors, demand for these specific coins started to rise. What was once a simple dime from 1972 now became a prized find, hunted by collectors who were looking for that rare, doubled image. The double die error on the 1972 dime, especially if it was in mint state, quickly became one of the most coveted errors of its time. And then, of course, there's the broader appeal of coins from the 1970s in general. The 1970s were a decade that represented both change and stability in American life. For many collectors, coins from this era carry not just monetary value but also nostalgic value. As the 1972 dime became a part of this narrative, it became an important symbol of the time. The fact that it featured Roosevelt's image also added to its historical significance, as it represented a link between the past and present. But what about the value? How much could the 1972 dime be worth today? While most of the 1972 dimes are still in circulation and carry their face value of 10 cents, the coins that have survived in pristine condition or with those rare minting errors have become highly valuable. A 1972 dime without any major flaws and in great condition can fetch hundreds of dollars in the right market. But when you factor in the double die error, the value increases dramatically. These error coins have been known to sell for thousands, sometimes even more depending on their condition. As the years have gone by, the market for error coins has continued to grow, and the 1972 double die dime has become one of the standout coins in this category. Whether sold at auctions, through private sales, or traded among collectors, this coin has commanded some impressive sums. The rarity of the double die error, combined with the coin's excellent design and historical significance, has pushed its price to levels that many collectors could never have imagined back in 1972. What's the current value of the 1972 one dime with the double die error? While the value can vary depending on factors like the coin's condition and the severity of the error, collectors have been known to pay as much as $132,000 for a well-preserved example with a significant double die error. That's right, a coin that originally had a value of just 10 cents can now fetch an astonishing amount, all because of its rare error and its place in numismatic history. This incredible price tag is a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting. A simple dime from 1972, with a slight mistake in its minting process, has become a prized possession for those who recognize its value. For collectors, it's not just about owning a piece of currency, it's about owning a piece of history, a rare find that speaks to both the artistry and imperfection of coin production. So, the next time you come across a 1972 dime, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, because you might just be holding on to a rare treasure that could change your financial future. Whether it's a perfectly preserved dime or one with an exciting error, the 1972 coin has proven that sometimes, the smallest mistakes can lead to the greatest rewards. Up next, we explore a coin that might seem ordinary at first but has gained considerable attention over the years, the 1993 USA 1 dime P coin. At first glance, it appears just like any other Roosevelt dime. However, this coin holds a hidden charm and story that makes it a standout among dimes from the early 1990s. The 1993 dime carries with it the iconic design that has been a hallmark of the coin since 1946. The obverse features the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, captured in a side view that exudes leadership and determination. Roosevelt, a figure who led the United States through the Great Depression and World War II, remains one of the most revered presidents in American history, and his image on the dime is a fitting tribute to his legacy. The reverse, as always, features the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. These timeless motifs speak to the nation's enduring ideals. However, the 1993 1 dime coin is not just memorable for its design. Its significance began to evolve over time as collectors and numismatists began to take note of something that was often overlooked at first: the coin's condition and the rarity of certain varieties. When the 1993 dimes were initially minted at the Philadelphia Mint, they were produced in large quantities. These dimes circulated widely, making their way into the hands of millions of Americans. The vast majority of these coins were used in everyday transactions and, over time, showed the wear and tear that comes with regular circulation. But not all 1993 dimes followed the same fate. A select few were preserved in pristine condition, untouched by the hands of time. These uncirculated dimes quickly became valuable to collectors looking to find coins that had been well kept, but here's where things get even more interesting. As time passed, some of the 1993 dimes were discovered to have minting errors, particularly, the clashed die error. This error occurred when the dies used to strike the coin accidentally collided with each other while there was no coin between them. The result was an impression of the die's design transferred onto the surface of the coin, creating a faint or ghostly image that wasn't intended to be there. For the 1993 dime, this clash die error created some truly unique and rare variations that immediately caught the eye of coin enthusiasts. The significance of these error coins cannot be overstated. Collectors know that errors like these are among the most sought-after coins in the world. It's not every day that a coin goes through a production process that leaves it with a distinctive flaw, and such anomalies can often add immense value to a coin. As the clashed die errors became more recognized, the value of these dimes soared. Collectors knew that these coins weren't just run-of-the-mill dimes, they were historical anomalies, each one telling a story of the minting process itself. Beyond the clashed die errors, the appeal of the 1993 1 dime coin also lies in its historical context. The early 1990s marked a period of significant transition for the United States. It was the end of the Cold War, the rise of the Internet era, and a time of economic change. The 1993 dime, despite being a small piece of currency, carries a silent reflection of these major moments in American history. It's not just a coin, it's a snapshot of a particular era. As with any rare coin, the value of the 1993 1 dime P coin is tied to a number of factors: condition, rarity, and any minting errors. While most dimes from 1993 are still in circulation and are worth only their face value of 10 cents, the ones with pristine quality or rare minting flaws can fetch a much higher price. The rarest of these coins, those with a well-defined clash die error, are the true treasures. For collectors, finding a 1993 dime with a clash die error is akin to discovering a gem in the rough. In fact, the most valuable examples of these error coins have sold for astonishing sums at auction. A particularly sharp example of the 1993 dime with a clash die error, graded in mint state, has been known to fetch as much as $114,000 at auction. That's right, this small coin, once worth only 10 cents, could be worth a small fortune if you're lucky enough to find one with a minting mistake. The rarity, uniqueness, and historical context of these coins have turned them into highly coveted pieces for collectors and investors alike. What's truly fascinating about the 1993 dime is that it's a reminder of how coins can transcend their initial purpose as currency. Over time, the dimes from 1993 became more than just pieces of metal, they became pieces of history. Each coin has its own story to tell, whether it's about the minting process, the period in which it was produced, or the sheer luck of stumbling upon one of the rare error coins. These elements combine to make the 1993 1 dime P coin an incredibly valuable treasure for those who appreciate its place in the larger story of American coinage. So, the next time you find yourself holding a 1993 dime, take a moment to examine it closely. You might just have more than a simple coin on your hands. With the right error or in exceptional condition, your 1993 1 dime P coin could be worth much more than you ever imagined. For those who collect and appreciate the history behind each coin, the 1993 dime is a testament to the unexpected rewards that can come from paying attention to the smallest of details. Up next, let's turn our attention to a coin that most people don't think twice about, a simple, small, silver-toned piece of change that we've all carried, spent, or dropped between the couch cushions. The 2004 USA 1 dime P coin may seem like just another ordinary Roosevelt dime, but for those who know what to look for, this coin has earned its place among the unexpected gems of modern coin collecting. At first glance, there's nothing extraordinary about this coin. It fits easily in your palm, it's lightweight, and it still holds its face value of 10 cents. But when you zoom in, both literally and historically, the details start to emerge. This coin is part of a lineage that dates back to 1946, the year the Roosevelt dime was first introduced. It was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death, and in recognition of his pivotal role in supporting the March of Dimes, an organization that helped combat polio. The design has remained largely unchanged ever since, and for good reason. Roosevelt's profile on the obverse is a powerful symbol, strong, dignified, timeless. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch continue to represent the ideals of liberty, peace, and strength. It's a simple design, but one loaded with symbolism, and that's part of why it has endured for so long. Now, the 2004 dime was minted in Philadelphia, as marked by the small p just above the date. Millions were produced, and most entered circulation quickly. These dimes clinked through cash registers, bus fare boxes, and vending machines without anyone giving them a second glance. But here's the twist: not every coin is struck perfectly, and not every coin survives circulation in the same condition. That's where the story of this coin starts to shift from ordinary to exceptional. Among the mass of 2004 dimes, a handful escaped the usual fate. Some were struck with subtle errors, flaws that occurred during the minting process. These could include double strikes, off-center strikes, weak edges, or the more elusive die clash errors where images from one side of the coin are faintly imprinted on the other. Errors like these don't just make a coin unique, they make it rare, and rarity is the heartbeat of the collector's world. Collectors thrive on the chase. They comb through rolls of coins, sift through pocket change, and scour auctions in search of those elusive mistakes, those tiny imperfections that turn a common coin into a conversation piece. A 2004 dime with a mint error is not just a coin, it's a survivor of a production accident, a fingerprint of the minting process itself. And while most people toss these into jars without thinking, the sharp-eyed collector sees treasure where others see 10 cents, then there's the matter of condition. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin might be rare, but if it's worn down, scratched, or tarnished, its value drops significantly. But a 2004 dime in pristine, uncirculated condition, one that looks just as crisp and detailed as the day it was struck, can command serious attention. When a coin achieves a grading of MS66, MS67, or even higher, it becomes more than just pocket change. It becomes a collectible asset. Now think about the odds. Millions of dimes are handled every day. Most get scuffed, rubbed, and tossed around. The chances of finding one in near-perfect condition are low. The chances of finding one in perfect condition with a minting error? Even lower. That's why collectors and coin dealers alike pay close attention when one surfaces. The 2004 dime also carries a subtle historical weight. The early 2000s were a period of transition, a bridge between the analog 20th century and the digital 21st. As technology changed, so did the way people paid for things. Coins began to play a smaller role in daily life, with debit cards, digital wallets, and online payments taking center stage. That means fewer coins were hoarded, and fewer were preserved. The dimes that were set aside, especially those in uncirculated or near-mint condition, are now some of the rarest examples of their kind, and here's where it gets really fascinating. Not only are these era coins and high-grade examples rare, but they're also increasing in value. More and more collectors are recognizing the significance of modern coins, especially those produced during years of high output where errors were easy to miss. The demand is growing, and with it, so is the market value. Now imagine you find a 2004 dime in a drawer or stuck between your car seats. You take a closer look and notice that the strike seems off. Maybe the image is a little off-center, or the edge feels different. You check for scratches or signs of wear, and it looks perfect, like it just left the mint yesterday. In that moment, you might be holding something far more valuable than you think, because one such 2004 1 dime P coin, preserved in top condition and featuring a recognized mint error, has been valued at an impressive $36,000. Yes, a 10-cent piece, smaller than a quarter, lighter than a nickel, now worth more than a brand new car, and that's what makes the world of coin collecting so endlessly exciting. It's not always about the oldest, shiniest, or most famous coins. Sometimes, it's about the overlooked ones, the dimes, nickels, and quarters that most people ignore. It's about spotting what others miss and recognizing value where others see only small change. So the next time you hold a dime in your hand, pause for a moment. Look closely. Because if it happens to be from 2004, if it bears the P mint mark, and if it carries an unusual error or is in flawless condition, you might just be holding a hidden treasure, and who knows? That simple dime could be your ticket into the incredible world of rare coins, and possibly, a small fortune. The 2007 Roosevelt 1 dime D coin, something most people would simply toss in their pocket or discard in a jar. It's easy to overlook, right? Just another dime, right? But you would be wrong to underestimate this seemingly simple coin. What many don't know is that this dime, produced by the Denver Mint, is far more than just 10 cents, it's a tiny piece of American history and potential treasure, one that might be hiding in plain sight. This dime, often passed through cash registers and lost in the shuffle of daily life, carries more than just the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It's tied to a fascinating story about rare minting errors, historical symbolism, and the world of numismatics, the collectors who search high and low for these hidden gems, and the immense value they can bring when you least expect it. Let's take a closer look at this coin. First, the basics. The Roosevelt dime, introduced in 1946, was meant to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. He had passed away in 1945, but the need to commemorate his leadership and legacy was powerful. Roosevelt had led America through two of its darkest times, the Great Depression and World War II. His strength and resolve in the face of adversity made him an icon in American history. But beyond politics, Roosevelt had an extremely personal connection to the March of Dimes campaign, an initiative that helped raise funds to fight polio, a disease that had crippled him for much of his life. So, the image of Roosevelt's face, etched with dignity and resilience, became a permanent feature on the dime. The design has hardly changed over the decades. The reverse side of the coin features symbols of liberty and strength, a torch representing freedom, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. These symbols convey a message that resonates with Americans to this very day. The 2007 Roosevelt dime is more than just a coin, it's a reminder of the history and values that shaped the United States. But here's where things get interesting. While most 2007 Roosevelt dimes were made for simple circulation, some coins were created with noticeable errors that would make them highly desirable to collectors. And this is where the true value of the 2007 D dime begins to take shape. Imagine, for a moment, holding a coin from 2007 that's almost identical to the millions that were produced that year. On the surface, it might seem like any other dime, tiny, plain, and unimpressive. But then, you notice something unusual. Maybe Roosevelt's face is slightly off-center, the profile slightly tilted, or part of the coin's edge is missing. It's an anomaly, an error that slipped through the minting process, unnoticed by the human eye. These errors, known as minting flaws, are the hidden treasures that collectors long for. They're rare, accidental, and incredibly valuable because they provide a glimpse into the imperfection of a mass production process that usually produces flawless coins. These minting errors can be as subtle as a slight misalignment in the die, causing an off-center strike. Or perhaps the coin was struck twice, with the second impression slightly overlapping the first, causing a double die effect. In rare cases, a clash could occur, where the obverse, the front, and reverse, the back, dies make contact without a coin in between, leaving partial impressions of the other side. These errors are not only fascinating but incredibly valuable, as they provide a snapshot of the mechanics behind coin production. Now, let's talk about the condition of these coins. Most coins that pass through the hands of countless people get scratched, worn down, and tarnished. But in the world of numismatics, condition is key. Coins that are graded highly, with marks like MS65, MS66, or higher, are incredibly rare and sought after. Mint state, MS, is a grading scale that tells collectors how close a coin is to being perfect. An MS67 or MS68 coin, especially one with a minting error, is like finding a needle in a haystack. That in 2007, coins were minted in large quantities, and it's safe to say that most of them circulated, got dirty, and were eventually used for their face value, just 10 cents. However, there were a few that managed to escape the everyday wear and tear, arriving in perfect condition. These coins, with no signs of scratching, discoloration, or damage, are highly prized by collectors who scour auctions and coin shops to find these pristine gems, and of course, as the years go by, collectors begin to take a closer look at the coins from this era. What once seemed insignificant, a dime produced in 2007, now carries incredible value. Over time, many 2007 dimes, especially those in mint condition and with errors, became even rarer, driving up the demand for them. Collectors began to recognize their potential, not just as pieces of history, but as investments that could grow in value over time. So, let's fast forward to today. While most 2007 dimes are still worth just 10 cents, a select few have been sold for astounding amounts. Some of these coins, particularly those with clear minting errors or those in near-perfect condition, have reached prices that make collectors sit up and take notice, and one such coin, a 2007 Roosevelt dime, in flawless condition, featuring a rare and dramatic error, has been valued at an astonishing $32,000. Now, think about this. The coin in question is one of just a handful known to exist with that exact flaw, an off-center strike with perfect details, with minimal wear, and verified by expert grading services. It's rare, it's unique, and it's not something you'd expect to find casually in your change. But that's the beauty of coin collecting, the thrill of discovering something valuable in the most unexpected places. So next time you handle a handful of change, take a moment to look at the dimes. Don't just toss them aside. Inspect them. You could be holding the key to a hidden treasure, one that could be worth far more than just 10 cents. Whether it's a subtle error, a mint condition gem, or something more dramatic, you never know when you might stumble across a coin worth thousands of dollars, and that's the magic of numismatics. It's not about the coin's face value. It's about recognizing the rarity and uniqueness that can turn everyday currency into something extraordinary. For the few lucky collectors who recognize the potential in these coins, the payoff is more than worth the hunt. So, while the rest of the world overlooks a 2007 Roosevelt dime, you know better. You know that with just a little luck, a keen eye, and a bit of patience, you might just discover a treasure that's been hiding in plain sight all along. The 2016 USA 1 dime P coin, at first glance, it may look just like another dime you've seen 1,000 times before. It's small, seemingly unremarkable, and part of everyday currency. But behind this unassuming coin lies a fascinating story of history, design, and rare value. What makes the 2016 dime stand out, particularly the P Mint Mark version, is the way it reflects a pivotal moment in the history of U.S. coinage. Its tale is one of uniqueness, rarity, and how a small error or slight difference can lead to an incredible discovery. Let's start with the history of the dime itself. The dime, as we know it, was first introduced in 1796, a time when the fledgling United States was looking to establish its own identity through currency. Over the centuries, the design of the dime has changed several times. One of the most famous designs was the Mercury dime, struck from 1916 to 1945, which featured a depiction of Liberty wearing a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought. Since then, the design has evolved, but the essential theme of liberty has remained constant. The 2016 dime is part of the Roosevelt series, which has been in circulation since 1946. The decision to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, was made after his passing, as he was revered for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt's face adorns the front, or obverse, of the dime, capturing his steadfast and reassuring presence. On the reverse, we find the traditional imagery of a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, all symbols of strength, peace, and freedom. These symbols have remained unchanged for decades, symbolizing the enduring values that Roosevelt stood for. Now, as we move into the specifics of the 2016 coin, there's something crucial to understand: the P mint mark. For decades, all U.S. dimes were struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, with the mint mark used to indicate where the coin was made. The Philadelphia Mint is known for producing the majority of U.S. coins, and typically, coins from Philadelphia are marked with the P. However, what makes the 2016 dimes so special is that, for the first time in history, coins minted in Philadelphia bore the P mint mark. This change wasn't just a design shift, it was a landmark in U.S. coinage. Before this, coins from the Philadelphia Mint did not typically carry a mint mark. Instead, they were simply issued without one. For years, the P mint mark had been reserved for coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint's sister facility in Denver, Colorado. The introduction of the P mint mark on dimes in 2016 marked a departure from tradition, signaling a new chapter in U.S. coin history. For collectors, this small change sparked a great deal of interest. Collecting mint marks has always been a popular pursuit, and the 2016 P dime became highly sought after because of its rarity. The minting of dimes with the P mark was not a one-off occurrence. It was a conscious decision by the U.S. Mint to mark a milestone in the history of American coinage, the first ever appearance of the P mint mark on the dime, but this wasn't the only thing that made the 2016 dime a rare treasure. As is often the case in the world of coin collecting, some errors or anomalies can take a standard issue coin and turn it into something worth a small fortune. These imperfections or misprints, whether they are die errors, off-center strikes, or flaws in the minting process, create unique variations that make the coin much more valuable to collectors. In the case of the 2016 P dime, there were some that slipped through the cracks with small but significant minting errors. For example, there were dimes produced that had faint or misaligned strikes. These issues, while subtle, increased their rarity, making them incredibly desirable to those in the numismatic community. Coins with such errors are often graded based on their rarity, with specific grading systems determining the overall value. A coin that is in perfect condition, with no wear and tear, is far more valuable than one that has seen years of circulation. The importance of a coin's condition cannot be overstated. A dime with a high grade, such as MS-67 or MS-68, would be considered in excellent condition, and even small differences in quality or flaws can significantly increase its worth. The 2016 P dime is no exception. Coins with the P mint mark in pristine condition, with no visible signs of wear, have been known to fetch impressive sums at auctions and from collectors looking to complete their set. Speaking of value, let's talk about what a coin like the 2016 P dime could be worth. While most of the 2016 dimes remain just 10 cents in face value, certain coins with minting errors, high grades, or unique features can command much higher prices. Coins with clear errors or those in flawless condition have been sold for thousands of dollars, making them an excellent investment for serious collectors. In fact, a 2016 P dime in pristine condition, especially one with an interesting or unusual minting error, can be worth an astounding amount. Some of these coins have been known to sell for upwards of $19,000, depending on the rarity and condition. Of course, this value fluctuates over time, as it depends on the demand in the numismatic market, but the rarity of these coins ensures that they will continue to be valuable for years to come. What makes the 2016 P dime so attractive to collectors isn't just its historical significance or its rarity. It's the potential for discovery. Each coin is like a little time capsule, carrying a unique story of its minting process and its journey through time. Some of these coins have passed through hands for years before being rediscovered and recognized for their hidden value. It's a reminder that sometimes, the things we least expect can turn out to be worth far more than we imagined. To put it simply, the 2016 P. Roosevelt dime isn't just a small piece of change, it's a piece of American history, a symbol of the country's legacy, and a potential treasure. For collectors and investors, it's a coin worth keeping an eye on, as the value of rare dimes from this era continues to rise. So, next time you find yourself holding a 2016 dime, take a moment to examine it closely. You never know, you might just be holding a coin that's worth far more than its face value.